Hi guys!
I'm Ryan Matlock, and today I'm going to show you how to do some color grading using the Lumetri color window or tool within Premiere Pro. So let's get going. So I'm here in Premiere Pro and I have my video for this week up and running, and in this video I did a couple things wrong, and I'm just going to be going through the things that I did wrong and how I'm going to rectify those, as well as just how I'm going to improve this picture right here in general. So whenever I get into Premiere and the first thing that I do is I put everything in a link. This is the link sequence where everything basically just sits, and then I go into my main thing right here, and that's where all the editing takes place. The editing all goes down in this editing or the main sequence, but the link, it's able to keep the video files just separate from everything, so that if I need to go back and change everything as a whole, I'm able to. So what I'm gonna do is, now I really wish I could, okay, I really wish that I could go back to that screenshot that I gotten before, because that was a much better. Okay, we'll go with this for the still image that we're gonna fix. So up here in the Lumetri color grading window, which you can access by going here and then coming down to Lumetri color, what you can do is you can actually do a lot with this, and I do a ton with it, but right now I'm just gonna tell you guys about basic correction. And basic correction is essentially just changing the color to make sure that it matches the tone and feel that you're looking for in your video. So right now, and this is something that whenever I look at it at first, my trained eye says this is something that needs to be fixed. But the untrained eye would say this looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty decent. Well, you're not going to think so by the end. So one thing that I think is that when I look at these white highlights right here, I think they're a little bit too white. It's a bit of a blue feel. So I'm gonna come over here. The temperature can be either closer to cold or blue or warm or orange. So I'm just gonna adjust that a little bit. And you can see it does the changes in real time as I'm adjusting them on the scale. I think right about there is probably good. And then you can come over here to effect controls and go down to the Lumetri color. You'll see it has applied it in your effects rack, and you can just turn that off to see where you've been and where you are now. And it's really cool. I think the look that I like for this video is for it to be orange, but just a hint of pink. I don't like getting any kind of green look in my videos. We'll just go right there. And then down here, these have more to do with the lights and darks in your video. Not so much color, but so much as how bright and how dark your video ends up being. So for example, exposure, if we take this to the extreme, I'm very exposed here. I look almost ghostly, but if I turn it down, I'm dark. I'm in a dark room basically. So I do like to have kind of a bright, cheery feel to my videos, so I'm gonna brighten it up right to about there. I don't want to brighten it too much, because if this white on my face gets to be too much, it'll blow itself out. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to highlights and I'm going to lower it just a little bit. Okay, see, the highlights, it just deals with the stuff that's very bright. It lowers that, it lowers just the bright stuff, not much of the dark stuff. Unlike the shadows, which deals with the stuff that's very dark. So for example, I can lower the shadows here, and then so I can lower the shadows here, and as you can see, my suit, for example, the shadows are getting a bit darker. I think I'm going to lower it to right about there. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to come to whites. Whites, let's see. And sometimes with this, it's really just playing around with it, figuring out what looks good by going back and forth on the slider. I'll put that right about there. And then as for blacks, I don't play with blacks almost ever, because as you can see, and I'm going to actually show you guys this real quick, I'm going to zoom in, not there, right about here on the suit. So as you can see on the suit, there's not much pixelation going on, but when I play with the blacks at all, either I brighten it to the point where there's no shadows, like there's no exact black in this at all, or if I darken it, go past 0 to the negatives, you can see there's a pixelation effect that starts to happen. The black starts to sort of bleed out and get kind of blocky, and I just don't like that feel for the videos. You can see even better if I zoom in a little bit more. You can see that right there. I don't like that at all, so I tend to stay away from playing with the blacks at all, keep it at 0, and you can double click anything on this rack to return it to its 0 if you want to see what it would look like if it's back at its original and you don't feel like typing it in. Saturation, that's kind of fun to play with sometimes. It makes it a little bit more, you don't want to play with it too much or you look like an Oompa Loompa, and I don't like that in my videos whatsoever. So yeah, this is how you basically just do the basic correction with Lumetri color grade, and as you can see, it makes it look a lot better. As we can see here, when I come here, turn it off, see the difference is night and day what the video will look like after you do your Lumetri color grading. You'll never go back. So now there's one other thing that I need to do here, and that's that in this video I actually forgot to turn off the light on my fan, which is right directly above my head, as well as the highlight fairy lights in the background. I forgot to turn on the lights in the background, and I forgot to turn off the one above. So as you can see early on in the video, it's very pink, and the reason for this is that my light on my fan is actually an orange light, not my filming lights. So this is the second thing that I need to fix, and so I'm going to go through the video, find the point where I realized my mistake, and I'm going to fix that. So right here, you can see my face. It's so funny. It's just like, great, what have I done? So I'm going to just come right here. I'm going to clip that right there. And I'm actually going to come and regrade this side right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come to this part. No, spoiler. I'm going to press Control-Shift-E, and I'm going to create a still of the project, and I'm going to put that over what I'm about to edit. This way I can have a frame of reference for what it ought to look like. As you can see, pink, good. Pink, good. We're going to find a better still, see if that's a little bit more flattering. That's the one thing that's problematic about making videos about yourself. I probably ought to just record regular footage instead of this. But as you can see, this is I look very good in this shot. I might actually make that my new profile picture, who knows. So we're going to go back to Lumetri color, and one thing we notice is that it's just too darn pink. We're going to lower the pinks right there, and we can always go back to this as a frame of reference. That's actually looking pretty close to what it needs to be. I'd say I'm just a little bit too orange and a little bit too saturated. You can see the orangish pink tones here. I'm going to lower my oranges just a bit to maybe right about there. And then I'm going to go into my exposure. I'm going to lower that just a tad, as well as my highlights. The highlights need to come down. Now let's see how that looks. Going between the two, I'd say I took off too much orange. Go back up. There we go. Now the looks look pretty consistent. I think the only thing left is if you look at the blanket right here in the background, you can see that it's pretty dark, pretty contrasty, but when we turn it back to here, it's not. So I'm going to actually raise the contrast on the back one. There we go, right about maybe there. And I'm actually going to play with the shadows just a tad more. Make it a little bit darker. No, there we go. Make it a little bit darker. Okay, now let's go between the two. It's almost completely identical. Maybe move pink slider just a bit more. Oh boy, now I'm completely green. There we go. I think that's a bit more consistent so far as the lighting goes, and I did in the video actually mention that the lights turned off, so that is something that will be part of the video, but I didn't want it to look completely different. So now all I'm going to do, my camera actually split it into two files, so this is still unchanged so far as the color, so I'm going to just come to Effect Controls, copy the Lumetri color with Control-C, and then come over here, Control-V, boom, everything's consistent. So thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I'm going to be making these every Thursday, either in video form or on my blog at theryanmatlock.com. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!